Okay, it's time to get the show on the road. Good morning, everyone, and welcome. If you're back, I'm so glad that you're taking advantage of these self-care Sundays. And if you're new, buckle up. We're about to get real here at Elisa Marie Designs. I will be reading to you from my own journal. Usually I read from a book, but I actually, was it Tamara? I think it was Tamara who said, I can't wait for the new year to start my Book of Awakening. And I'm like, no, start where you are. Open up to today and read that. Sometimes, Tamara, what I do is, and I did this today, I was going to open up to this morning's reading. Oh gosh, what a morning I had. But more about that in Crimson later. I opened this up. And it opened up to October the 17th, which is oddly enough my girlfriend's birthday. And the reading was so appropriate for the day and for this class. So I said, wow, okay, I'm going to read this today. I think everybody needs to hear this today, especially with the first big family holiday coming up of the year, right? Isn't it? No, there's other family holidays. We have Easter and what else do we have? Look how big this coffee cup is. I'm still not all here. I'm trying. But, you know, we're having, I think that Thanksgiving is the biggest holiday family get together. Okay. So this is a good one. Okay. So we're going to be reading that. And we're going to be working along with Bud. Just love that name. Bud. Here he is. Look at that cutie pie. And I was just, things were just coming at me. And I said, I'm going to take these out. You know, my little kitty cover minder. There you go. Right there. But also, I had gone to, I'm from Philadelphia, and I had gone to Garland of Letters. And they always have these loose gemstones. And I can't remember if I actually looked up what these mean. But they were in my drawer, and I had one out yesterday, and it's not here. I don't know if I put him back and he got lost in my drawer somewhere, or he's somewhere on the other table. No, he's not around. I don't know. He's hiding from me. But I said, let me put these out. And while I was in my drawer, I found these little kitty tarot, stickers, and I decided to give them a shuffle. And like this one landed on top, but this one came out at the top of the bunch, the Emperor. The Emperor. And I said, let me look up, what does the Emperor mean? Let's look it up. Maybe it goes in, and it really does. It fits in with what's going on with this reading today. And this class. And this class today is about self-care. Let me see. Where did I leave off here? I just love that I left off, and there's like a little section for me to do here. But I actually, oh, I cut a section here. Let's not do that. I'll lean right on that, and that'll be the end of that. Let's put this back. I was getting ready for a new section. I just noticed I didn't finish a section. Where's my little... Where'd you go? This is why I can't have a cover minder. Oh, it's on here. Well, what was I doing? I kind of just put it back. I kind of just put it back and just kind of thought it was going to like what? You have to put the magnet on the bottom and then put your cover minder on top. Oh boy. Sit. More coffee, please. More coffee. Maybe the girl needs a cookie. Oh God, I got good ones from Aldi's this week. So good. Like your grandma made them. Oh, thin, buttery, crispy. They're dangerous. Dangerous. I think I ate about 5 of them when I brought them home. So bad. I'm being so bad these days. All right. So my thinking about like what is going to be the topic for self-care Sunday, and anytime I teach a class, a yoga class, you know, I always come from like my book. I start where I am, like what is going on in my life, what is happening, what is self-care, because I think back in the day when we first heard about, well, for me, back in my day, when I first heard about self-care, it was like, oh, okay, yes, I really should make time for a bubble bath. What did I think that self-care was? you know, as a young mother and, you know, having a child and like, not that you, well, you do, you do, you know, I learned how to put myself in a timeout to just say, oh my gosh, I need to decompress or I'm going to explode. So, but you know, when Josh would come home from school, it was, let me see what's in your book bag. Let me see what you have to do. Let me see what you have. And then you're going to do this work. And then you're going to do what you want to do. You know, watch your show, play your Nintendo or whatever the game was at that time. Talk to your friends, do your trading cards. And then it's going to be, you know, bath time, dinner time, bath time. And then we get ready for bed. So, you know, that was the moment when it was like, well, here's what you can do for yourself. And I was busy building a makeup company. And so once Josh was settled, I was downstairs in the basement with my computer and the makeup that I was developing and, you know, taking pictures. And that's a whole nother story. I don't even know if I told you guys that one, but that became really successful for me. And I was also running the restaurant with my ex-husband, and yeah, it was a lot. So I at that time too, and I guess even being in the area that I was in, which was Center City, Philadelphia, and there was a lot of yoga and spas and stuff, but I didn't have that kind of lifestyle where it was like, you know, Josh can be watched by whomever, like maybe a grandparent, or a lot of girls my age that were living in that area had nannies and stuff. That wasn't my life. I was a worker. And, you know, I had a job. When I say worker, I had a job that was like 7 days a week, nonstop. You know, when you run your own business, there is no weekend. You go home with it, you wake up with it. And so it was like, well, what is self-care? Is it like, you know, going for a mani and a pedi? Yeah. Is it taking a bubble bath? Is it having a glass of Prosecco? Yeah. You know, do I come home and have a glass of wine when I come home from work? Not really, you know, because I'm still, you know, in boss mode, boss lady mode, and thinking about, well, what's on the agenda for tomorrow? Like I said, you just come home with it. And, you know, I don't need to get into all that. I'm sure you have some idea. But, even though I was engaging in these things to me that I thought were self-care, I didn't feel relaxed and restored. I felt like I was having to do things first to get the benefit to the self-care. You know, does that make sense? Like, you know, if I wanted to run a bath, it became this big production. It became like, dim the lights and get the candles scented and put on the radio. What kind of bubbles do you want? You know, are you going to wear an eye mask or a face mask? Like, what are you going to do? Like, are you going to be doing your cuticles? Should you shave your leg? I mean, it just, you know, for people like us that suffer with this, and this is another thing, I suffered with a lot of anxiety, and I had to really sit down with myself and be like, why am I constantly in this survival mode? Because that's what anxiety is. Anxiety is flipping this, your brain flips the switch that it is in survival mode, because your nervous system is always in the sympathetic nervous system is turned on, and that's the flight or fight nervous system. And if you don't know how to turn on your parasympathetic nervous system, where that is the restore, calm, and relax, you're constantly in this state of survival. And I remember, like, when things were getting really bad with my anxiety and really bad with like bouts of depression and crying, and me trying to learn how to cope with all this stuff, it was like, I need to spend my whole day just getting out of this state that I'm in. You know, it's like, okay, go take a walk. Go practice your yoga, practice your breathing, do your affirmations, read something uplifting. This is all day. Like, I'm running a restaurant, and I'm running two. I'm going back and forth from Philadelphia to New York, the travel, you know, the stress. You know, when's the last time you were stressed? It may have been just getting here to negotiate some time for yourself to be a part of Self-Care Sunday, to be a part of your diamond painting. And that's, you know, this is turning like into like a talk, but you know, you can listen, you could do what it is that you're working on, no matter what it is it's what you're working on. It doesn't have to be a diamond painting, but I always want to join you guys in doing some work on Bud here, but it doesn't seem to happen. I can't think about what it is that I want to say to you guys and give you the benefit of this class and diamond paint. I wish I could. I can't. And that's another thing. Multitasking is a myth. It takes your brain 3 minutes. Even though you might be doing the thing, your mind is still on the listing that you did. So it takes your mind 3 minutes to catch up to what it is that you're doing, which is why it is so unnerving for me to see people do multiple things when they're driving a car. You cannot drive a car and text. You can, but your mind is not on both things at the same time. It's on one or the other. And unfortunately, it's on the text message. It's on the boss texting you or the partner or, you know, an argument that you're in. You can't multitask. You can't. It's a myth. Learn that now. You're never getting done. And I know that you know this, because if you were ever doing multiple things at one time, it's like, how many times have you said to yourself, I'm juggling all these balls in the air, and yet I feel like I'm not getting anything done? Because you're not fully present on what it is that you're doing. So you're just causing yourself more stress. The mind gets overworked and then it gets burnt out. So the remedy for that is to become more organized. And an organization is just a habit, and you can do it. I'm not saying do a to-do list because that's, even just doing a to-do list, it's like we get carried away. It's like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, what to do. I'm writing this big list. And then I look at it and I go, oh, I can't do that. So I ditched the to-do list. Now I have a could-do list. I could do this, I could do that, I could do this, I could do that. And that I can do. So don't overwork your brain. Don't pick those things. Do the list. Do the could-do list. And then say, what's the one that's most important here? What is the priority? And that's all you do. And before you do it, make sure you have everything that you need in front of you that you need to do that thing. If it's paying the bills, make sure you have your pen and your paper and your coffee and your information, because every time that you stop to get up and get something and your mind and your eye looks at something, oh, let me just put this away before I go back into the desk. Oh, let me grab this, put this here. And then you go back to your desk and you have to reset your mind all over again. So it's a few simple tasks that you could do to organize yourself to get the task done. Now try and imagine doing it that way and then doing it the old way where you get distracted. You're like, oh, I don't have my coffee. Let me go get my coffee. And then you go in the kitchen. You're like, oh, let me just empty the dishwasher. Let me rinse these dishes in the sink. You would already be done. You would already be looking at your could-do list and saying, okay, I got that done. What do I need to do now? Trust me. I had to train myself to do this. And it is nerve-wracking for me because I live with a man who doesn't want to listen. He sits at that computer over there. I swear to God. And I'm like, who is he talking to? He'll look at the computer and go, wait a minute. No, that's not right. No. Lee, can you get me? And I'm like, oh my God. I love him to death. But he's being distracted and he's unraveling and he's spending this energy. Your greatest currency is your time, is your energy, your minute. Let me tell you something after I take this sip. Another book that I've not brought to your attention, though I have talked about it, is Julia Cameron's The Artist's Way. Now, Julia Cameron was married to James Cameron. Titanic. And she went through a 12-step program. She was an alcoholic. And what I didn't know in reading this book was that most creatives feel like they can't be creative unless they are under some kind of influence. Now, we all know, you know, they even have places now today where you can go and sip and paint. Sip your wine and paint, you know, like you're just kind of loosening yourself up. We all know that we're a little bit more freer if we had a glass of wine or a glass of Prosecco, and we're a little bit more relaxed, and yeah, okay. But there are really other artists that they go a little bit deeper. They experiment with things, and they have these breakthroughs and stuff. And she was just like, I'm not being authentic. And she went through the 12-step program. And when she wanted to recover a sense of identity and a sense of self and a sense of creativity, she applied her 12-step program. And Russell Brand did the same thing. He wrote a book. He wrote a 12-step program for the rest of us that, you know, he turned those antiquated rules into his own language. And it was very interesting to me. I've never had, you know, I never dealt with alcoholism, but I have dealt with, you know, being a shopaholic. Absolutely. I'm a shopaholic. I'm a chocoholic. I take pictures endlessly. I don't know if that's kind of some kind of form of addiction. I drink coffee, you know, like one day I added up how many cups of coffee I had, and I think it was like close to 13. I'm just going to implode one day from all the caffeine that I drink. So, I mean, I do have my addictions. You know, diamond painting could be an addiction. You know, I mean, I'm starting to build a stash. I'm starting to get concerned. Like, when are you doing all these diamond paintings? Because I also have a problem with waste and stuff. Like, let's not just buy things to buy them and put them in a closet. Are you actually going to do these? And if you're not, you're starting to get a little bit of following, give them away. Have something on your channel where you can say, I bought this, but I'm not going to use it. And would you like to have it? Let's do something like that. So, I mean, if I ever get that carried away, that's what I'm doing. But Julia Cameron, getting back to her, wrote a, how can I call it? It is an eye-opening, amazing chapter called, I think it might, it's not called, it might be Recovering a Sense of Identity in that chapter, about crazy makers. My husband's a creative, and I understand the whole process of him when he needs his time to work on the piano or his music and all. And I'm just like, I disappear, I vanish. But if I'm sitting here doing something and he needs something, he's my crazy maker. But not to the extent that Julia Cameron's writing about. I shouldn't call him that. He's not. He makes himself crazy. Like, maybe that's a way of saying that. And I'm a witness to it. And so maybe it makes me crazy. I think I just had a bit of clarity there. But she wrote about crazy makers. And crazy makers are the people in your life that when you tell them you have something to do, they have a crisis at that time. When you say, I'm calling you now because I'm going out to lunch with so-and-so, they're calling you on the phone. They have a 911 emergency. I gotta go. It was good talking to you. I gotta go. What? One more minute. Let me just tell you one more thing. It's my minute. It's my minute. It's my life. And I can't hang around for one more thing. And that takes a while to, you know, because we don't want to be perceived as being unkind, or you're not making time for this person, or you're being selfish. And selfish is not a bad thing. Selfish gets a bad rap. But being selfish is the value, is the standard. Because when you are not being selfish, you're actually, like, by staying on the phone and you know that you have somewhere to go and something to do, it's actually a form of self-abuse. Like, Because now you're in your head, and then you're frantic when you get off the phone, and like maybe it's like, oh, this person is so draining. Why did I even bother to answer the phone? I mean, I have friends that I love, but you know, if I gotta take a deep breath before I talk to you, you know, and you know, but I do, but I learned how to claim my time back. You know, even if I have to hang up on you, I'm sorry. If you get mad, then get mad, but this is my minute. I don't know how many sands are going through the hourglass with my name on it. And I think it's why I'm attracted to timepieces. I have an array of them on my piano. I have timepieces on my piano, and I would use them when I was teaching yoga. I didn't like disturbing my class with my watch going off that, you know, okay, we spent 5 minutes on this pose and now it's time to change, and you hear or even a vibration or whatever. Some people are very extremely sensitive. There's not anything to be detected from a timepiece, and I really want to start using it too when I diamond paint, even though I don't use it with making a video, because I can see the clock and I could be like, okay, it's time to wrap this up. You know, it's time to move on here. But you know, when I'm diamond painting, I can get lost. This is a meditative process, and I could get lost in what it is that I'm doing. And is it good? Yeah. But also no. Because you're sitting for a long period of time. You might be hunched over. Your shoulders may be getting tight. You are certainly, if you're not diamond painting with an easel, I can't do that. I like my placers. And I don't, can you diamond paint this way with a placer? I don't know. I don't know, but I do know that I diamond paint, you know, looking down, and that, you know, your shoulders begin to round and you begin to close off and collapse into yourself. And that's not good. Right. And then I get up from here and I'm like, oh, my neck, my shoulders. But the biggie was this week when I went to teach, the hips. Oh, my hips were screaming. So before I go any further, talking about self-care and what it means and what you think it means, I would be really interested if you were doing something right now, if you just like took a pause and wrote down what you think self-care means and what you do for self-care. Because, you know, I mean, for me, it was those things. It was Prosecco and bubble baths and maybe binging on Netflix because I don't have the time to watch television. And like now it's a beautiful Saturday, but I, you know, don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to do anything, but I'm going to roll up in a ball on the sofa and I'm going to watch Netflix. And that's not a bad thing. But our bodies were designed to move. And, you know, yeah, watch an episode, but then get up and move. Sometimes we get so involved, I won't even go into what I just got pulled into, because I'm talking about time and that being the greatest currency. And I got pulled into a program, and I know that Netflix has been sued. And I think that they beat the lawsuit, because they left so much information out. And I usually don't watch these type of programs because they're upsetting and they're horrific and they're heartbreaking. And it was about a murder, and I had a murder in my own family with my grandfather. And, you know, my mother was a little girl when it happened, but I have to tell you that this is generational. Maybe we'll get into that at another time, but it does affect the family for generations afterward, especially when a killer is not caught. And so I have always been obsessed with forensics, and I got involved in this, and a lot of the information was left out. And when this show was happening, I don't know where I was. I don't know what I was doing. I really don't watch that much TV. But now that I'm diamond painting, I like to have something on in the background. I like to have a documentary on. I like to be listening to a documentary or a lecture while I am diamond painting. Or, as you guys know, I have my jazz music on in the background, and that I get right through YouTube. They'll have like Saturday Cafe Jazz. You know, it's really wonderful. It's really lovely to listen to, and not be listening to the news or any other negativity that's going on out there. I mean, I'm aware of what's going on. I don't just stick my head in the sand. I'm aware of what's going on. But when I'm doing this, and this is my quiet time, and this is my me time, and this is my meditative time, I don't want that infiltrating into my mind. My girlfriend, Tira, I actually met her just once when I was in New York. I had a cafe in Chelsea. I had a restaurant in Chelsea. The cafe was in the Village. And she came in with her mom, and she was just a bubbly, bright, a burst of energy. Like, you just gravitated towards this girl. And we talked on Facebook. I never met her again in person, but she put this really cute, maybe if I can find it, I'll put it on. She put this really cute graphic up of what it's like meditating with a cat. And it was just a picture of a blue sky, and then there was a tear of the sky, and the cat's head was poking out. I'm like, that is meditating with a cat. Because when I did my class this week, when I did my yin yoga class this week, the cat was like, and it was so funny because all the other students had cats. It was like cat yoga, all the cats, and it's so natural for them to gravitate towards this calming energy that's going on a mat, on the floor, to come over and want to purr next to you and be like, oh, wow, this is like, you know, I like this vibe going on. We should all be more cat-like in our movements and in our, you know, oh, I think I just want to stretch now and just lay down and relax on the mat. And hey, that's yoga. If that's what you do, if you roll out your mat and you lay on it, you won. If you just practice Shavasana, and that is a practice, it's not called a practice just to be called a practice. Practicing Shavasana, I think, is probably one of the hardest yoga poses there is to practice. A lot of people don't know how to relax, and they can't relax, and they lay down, and then right away they got to get back up. I don't have time for this. I have to do something else. I got to, you know, practicing Shavasana, do it just for 5 minutes. Do it for three. Set 3 minutes on your watch. Lay down for 3 minutes and just breathe. And I think that what I'm going to do now, thinking about breathing, is why don't we do a little breath work? Why don't you put down whatever it is that you are working on, or if you are just listening, are you comfortable? Could you be more comfortable? Always be more comfortable. I have my yoga blanket underneath me that I will show you. I sit on my folded yoga blanket, and I sit on the folded edge of my yoga blanket. And I have a blanket behind me in case it gets a little chilly. This weather's crazy. You know, it's like, it's hot one day, it's cold the next, you know? And you might want to have this little extra blanket maybe on your lap or across you. It's so comforting, especially when you have a yoga blanket on your lap. It's the weight of it. It just feels comforting, especially across the belly, or maybe you want to open it up and put it over your shoulder. Sometimes I get a draft on my back. If you're comfortable, great. But if you could be more comfortable right now, hit pause, go get that extra blanket or that cushion. Maybe go get yourself something warm to drink as you're listening to me. But here's something I want to teach you, because I think that when we think about self-care, and I'm so interested to see what everybody put down for what they do for self-care. I think that when we do self-care, like, okay, so I'll come home and I'll have a glass of Prosecco. Okay. Maybe that's my thing. It was my thing. I'd be like, oh, I couldn't wait to get through the door. I couldn't wait to get Josh's homework done. And like, oh my God, is he playing Nintendo? I gotta start dinner, and I'm gonna have a glass of wine while I start dinner. But yes, it helps me relax. Or even if it was a day when, you know, his father took him out of the house and they went to go do something, and I was like, oh, me time. I'm just going to throw my shoes off. I'm going to lay down on the sofa, and I'm going to have a glass of wine, and I'm going to relax. But it was relaxing, But was it really restorative and healing? Yes, the bubble bath was relaxing, but was it really? I had a lot of work to do. And then I got to clean the tub. Then it was always like, well, that was relaxing, but now I got to put everything away and clean the tub. And it just was like, it would like take the zen right out of me. Or what else would I do? Yeah, it was nice to veg out on the sofa and binge on Netflix. But what else did I binge on? Potato chips. And then you really can't move because you're like in this salt sugar high, because when the salt comes in, then the sugar follows, and then the salt comes back, and then the sugar follows. And so then like now you need a cup of coffee because you're like, you know, you just feel terrible. So even though I thought that those things were self-care, were they really? Yes and no, I guess, is the answer, because I didn't feel relaxed and restored afterward. So I think too that when we're dealing with a lot in our life, in our job, in our relationships, and it's like a big thing. Maybe you're going through a divorce. Maybe you're thinking about changing your job. Maybe just negotiating the time to have time for yourself is stressful. Like how many steps, like if you were to stop right now and think about how many steps did it take for you to get to your area in your home, to turn on the computer and get yourself ready. Like how long did it take you to arrive to get here? A lot of steps, I bet. You know, you want the cup of coffee, you got to make the coffee, you know, you got to get your stuff together and in front of you. And it is a little bit of a formula. It is a formula to arrive and be here. And then when you're here, have you really arrived? Is your mind still on something else? Are you worried about who's going to call? Is there background noise? Like, so I think that we think that big problems need big solutions. They need a lot of fanfare, like the bubble. I keep going back to the bubble bath because I never really understood the bubble bath. Well, that was just work for me. And I never felt like I was relaxing. I always felt like I should be doing something else, like shaving my legs, or where's the cuticle pusher? Should I put a mask on? You know, and then all this work to, you know, clean the bathroom after. Forget it. And I'm not going out to a spa. You know, that's something else for me to do. I have to get to another destination. But I think right now, I want you to put down what you're doing. And I want you to close your eyes. And closing your eyes intentionally is so different than closing your eyes because you are tired. And get comfortable in the space that you are. And if you are not comfortable, could you be comfortable? Could you put your feet on the floor? Could you bring your shoulders down? Could you just keep your eyes closed without taking a peek? What is she doing? And relax your jaw. Maybe separate your teeth. I think that's why people yawn. They yawn because they're tired. I think they also yawn because they find themselves clenching their jaw. I do that when I'm at my desk and I'm doing something that is stressful. I clench my jaw, and I also hold my breath. So I've learned how to be aware of those little behind the scenes movements that I'm doing with my body. So maybe release your tongue from the top of your mouth. If it's found like a little home at the roof of your mouth, give your mouth space. The mouth, the jaw, and the hips are connected. So relax your face and maybe turn up the corners of your mouth. And breathe in. And breathe out. In through the nose, out through the mouth. I think this is also why people sigh. You know, you sigh, oh my gosh. We need that breath. Now I want to teach you an Ujjayi breath. And an Ujjayi breath is breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Let your belly be soft. Relax your belly. Find your breath. Are you breathing from up here in your chest? Or are you breathing from down here in your belly? You could put your hand, one hand on your chest and one hand on your belly. And as you breathe in, notice which hand is moving. If it's the chest hand, see if you can bring that breath down to your belly. An ujjayi breath is dragging the breath, not just breathing in through the nose and out through the nose, but dragging the breath. And it sounds like this. Notice the difference. Notice the difference of just breathing in through the nose and out through the nose, and then practicing that ujjayi breath where you're breathing in and you're deliberately and intentionally dragging the breath. And dragging it out through the nose. In through the nose, out through the nose. Sounds like Darth Vader. But I'll tell you what else it sounds like. It sounds like the ocean. So continue dragging your breath in through your nose, out through your nose, relaxing your jaw. Relaxing your eyelids, relaxing your face, releasing your tongue, separating your teeth. And notice what's happening as you breathe in and out. Notice the sound of the ocean. Picture yourself maybe at the ocean. If you live in a climate like I used to live in Florida, the ocean was a daily experience for me. Or if you live where the climates change, or you live like I now live, maybe 90 minutes away from the nearest ocean, and I'm remembering those. I can't wait for those days that I can go to the ocean and take a walk along the Atlantic City Boardwalk, which I will be next month. I will be at in Cape May, and I will go to the ocean. Notice how you feel when you get to a body of water. We are mostly water. Notice how relaxed that you feel. Everything kind of just floats away out of the mind, and you kind of maybe gaze over at the water, and you're creating that sound right now in your body with your breath. In and out, listening to that wave-like sound in your body of waves rolling in and waves rolling out. And then stay here if you want to stay here. You can, of course, you don't have to. I'm at this point, background noise, I'm sure. But you can continue your ujjayi breath if you like to. But if you're ready to open your eyes, tilt your chin down towards your chest first, and then just flicker your eyes open. Slowly, 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 you know, as if you were waking again, like you were getting up all over again this morning. And let your eyes adjust to the light, and then maybe look from side to side at color and what is around you. And then gently lift your head. And then notice how you feel. Did your body temperature drop a little bit? I'm sure your blood pressure, maybe it could have dropped a little bit. Your breathing might feel different than it did earlier. Maybe your mind is a little bit more clearer. Welcome to self-care. It doesn't have to be anything bigger than practicing a breath, practicing ujjayi breath. That ujjayi breath, it not only sounds like the ocean, it calms the nervous system. You turned on with that breath your parasympathetic nervous system. You gave the sympathetic nervous system a break. By using that breath, you're telling the brain is saying, in other words, oh, Elisa's not stressed. She's not negotiating for the next breath. She's not holding her breath. She's not clenching her jaw. She's actually very relaxed right now. She's actually feeling very calm. Her shoulders have moved away from her ears. And that's the one thing that I notice when I practice Ujjayi breath, is that my shoulders move away from my ears. I feel very relaxed. I feel warm because I had the blanket around my shoulders. But if you didn't have a blanket around your shoulders, you might notice that you feel a little bit cooler because your body temperature will drop a little bit. And that's the beautiful thing about practicing your breath. And you can do that anywhere. You can practice your breath anywhere. And so when I learned that I can use my breath to receive what it is that I was chasing, and what I was chasing was relaxation and restoration and healing, because Googling, like, what is self-care, was only giving me things that I was already doing, you know, and I wasn't receiving those benefits. Yeah, I could do my nails. I used to love doing my nails. And I don't mean nails. I mean, like, I would put enhancements on and do the, you know, applications and artwork on my nails and everything. But that was a 50-50. You know, it could turn into a problem where now the relaxation goes out the window. So, you know, barring any kind of mistakes with doing something like that, didn't feel like self-care. Having a glass of Prosecco after a while didn't feel like self-care, because yeah, you get a little bit loose, you get a little bit relaxed, but then I would like scroll on my phone, and maybe I was scrolling, shopping for things that I didn't need, and like your defenses are down, so it's like, yeah, just buy it, just get it. You deserve it, get it. Or, you know, I'm looking at things on Facebook that are like, you know, and I'm sorry, there was a call coming in that I can't get, and actually a little notice came up and said, if you answer this call, your recording is going to stop. So they're just going to have to wait. You guys are what's happening right now. And so, you know, I mean, maybe I was getting my temperature risen a little bit by things that I was reading on Facebook, which is never a good idea. I gave all that up. I have my social media for Elisa Marie Designs, but I don't engage in social media. I wish people a happy birthday and then I'm out. So I learned that things don't need to be so complicated. And I think that when you are in high anxiety and you are in survival mode, you think that things need to be complicated and need to be multi steps to get the benefits that you are searching for. And the reason why I asked you, like, how many steps did it take you to arrive here today? It actually probably took you more steps to arrive here today than it did to receive the benefit that you just got from your breath. So what else could we do to restore and heal our body? Well, breathing is a good start. Taking a leisurely walk by yourself. That's another thing I learned from The Artist's Way, from Julia Cameron. Take yourself out for a walk by yourself. You don't want to negotiate that time with another person. You don't want to another voice. It's not that you don't want to engage with the person. You don't want to hear what's going on in their life. You want to be able to hear your own voice. And a walking meditation, 20 minutes, is a fabulous thing to do for yourself. You're out in the fresh air, you're moving, and you are doing something for yourself. You're listening to yourself. You're not listening to anything else. Now, you could take yourself out on an artist date, which is another tool from The Artist's Way, where my artist date that I take myself out on is that I walk through a neighborhood that I haven't walked through before, and I take pictures. And you know, here's a funny story. My cousins grew up on a street called Mercy Street, and I decided one day I was going to walk down Mercy Street. I was going to go capture childhood memories. And as I was walking around capturing pictures, there were like all saints in the window. And I was like, oh, here's St. Michael. Oh, how beautiful. Oh, here's Jesus. Oh, hi, Jesus. Oh, here's Buddha. Hi, Buddha. You know, and you know, here's the Virgin Mary. And I'm like, what the heck is going on this street? everybody on this street has some kind of deity in the window. And I told my cousin, I called him up, I'm like, oh, guess what I did today? I walked down where you used to live. I took pictures. I'm going to send them to you of your old house. I'm like, what's with all the saints in the windows? And he's like, Elisa, it is called Mercy Street. And sometimes things are right in front of us and we don't, make the connection. So that's what I do. I take myself out on an artist date, or I take myself out on a meditation walk. Sometimes I do both. I breathe at least once a day. I do an Ujjayi breath. I will teach you another breath on another session. That is very good for balancing both hemispheres of the brain. And eat good food. You know, the cookies are a joke, you know, when I say I need a cookie. I mean, I might have a cookie a day, or 5. But I eat good food. I eat a good breakfast. I eat a good lunch. I eat a good dinner. It's important to not eat things that are processed and a lot of sugar. And we know this. I'm not going to lecture you on that. You know how you feel when you eat, you know, I mean, just think of when you had a party and you went out and you ate a lot of like cake, or had, you know, a few glasses of Prosecco and some sweets. You know how you feel the next day. Your eyes are all puffy and everything else. So, and you know how you feel. The next thing is getting a good night's sleep. You know how you feel. You feel like you can conquer the world if you get those hours that you need in. So, you know, breathing, walking, good food, and good sleep. There is your prescription for self-care. All the other stuff is gravy. Yeah, do all those personal things that you do for yourself. But it doesn't have to be complicated. We complicate things, and they don't need to be complicated. I'm just looking at my journal. I don't mean to be rude. I'm looking at what I wrote down about. Oh, wait, did I show you the little kitty, the little emperor? Well, when I drew this card, I wanted to know what it meant, and it meant stability, security, setting boundaries. You know, I'm reaching my goals from hard work, and I can't read my handwriting. I got handwriting like a doctor. I can't read it, but I just thought this was so cute. These little stickers that I found, and I found this like in a paper shop, and I was like, I'm going to put these little stickers in my journal near Bud, because this is what I wrote down for my self-care Sunday. And oh gosh, I really and so another thing that I do for myself, and we brought this up last week, was journal to the self. And I like the exercise that's called the list, because it just gives me something to focus on. It unwinds my brain. And the list is an exercise in writing that you pick a topic, any topic that you like. It could be movies. It could be incense. It could be books. It could be diamond painting. And you write 100 things that you like about it. And I wanted to share with you guys my diamond painting list, because I think I did. And again, 111. So what do I love about diamond painting? So to give you an idea of how this goes. First things, I think the first 3 are really important. It's meditative, it's relaxing, and it's inspiring. I always get inspired by a canvas, by the artist, by their work, by their palette, by, you know, how they draw something. So it's meditative, it's relaxing, it's inspiring, it's exciting. It is an exercise in patience. Square drills. It can be challenging. I love square drills, round drills, diamond pens, fragrant waxes, fragrant putty. It is aromatherapy at times. It is art therapy. It's color therapy also. Gotta add that in there, color therapy. It's lots of artists. It's the sense of community. It's community events, whip and chats. I love collectibles. I like to collect my pens is probably really what I collect more than anything. And I don't go and buy really expensive pens, but I like different pens. I like the feel of pens. Maybe because I'm a writer. I don't know. A sense of accomplishment. I love embellishments. In my AB drills, the first thing I look at when I buy a diamond painting is how many ABs are on here. I love Diamond Art Club. I love new releases, Diamond Art Club has got that market cornered. I love that you can do a custom print. I love the faceted diamonds. I love the button type diamonds. I love cover minders, trays, washi. I like that it builds focus. It reduces stress. It's decorative, holiday prints, seasonal printing, animal canvases, skinny placers, skinny pens, museum putty, colorful palettes, watercolor effects, old masters, quality time, me time, self-care, anticipation, coasters, stickers, my Elizabeth Ward system. I love that. Kitting up, quiet time, quells my anxiety, productive, collecting my Muka prints, enjoyment, making frames, adding embellishments, tweaking the design to make it my own. I like crystal gems. These make great gifts. They're sparkly, they're eye-catching. I love making videos. I love keeping a journal. I love color blocking. I like snack-sized diamond paintings. It's introspective. You don't need any experience. I love toolkits, stashes, confident builder, of course. It builds skill. It creates order. It organizes chaos. Poured glue, washi, box, fields, you know, the little washi fields that we make on our canvases. Intuitive painting. I love that. And the admiration that I feel for when I complete a diamond painting. It's a feel-good activity. I love meeting my subscribers, and when you all comment, I make sure that I acknowledge you and say hello. Creating content, finding tips and tricks, exploring new companies. Dreamer Designs is a new company that I like. I love their toolkit and wax. I've testified plenty of times to that. I love limited editions. I like artists who are arty. Diamond Painting Shop. I love their rendition. Rosa at customer service. I love her. Finishing a canvas, starting a new one. Practicing my craft. High wall trays and shops. High wall trays and stoppers. I love that I learned to use cuticle clippers to take round drills off a canvas. And I like my tweezers. I like working multiple canvases. I love watching my canvases progress. I can learn this craft on my own. Everything comes in my kit. I don't really need to go out and buy anything else. I'm inspired by new ideas from other crafters and from other crafts. I love discount codes. It's my coffee time. I love listening to other creators and other content and whips and stuff like that. I love that it builds my patience. I've incorporated other crafts into my diamond painting, like creating frames. And I had an awesome idea last night for lilac. It's just coming back to me. An awesome idea for a new border. Oh my gosh. I love multi-placing. I love huge canvases. I love that diamond painting is for all ages. I love extra drills left over for other crafts. And I love that my diamond paintings are becoming keepsakes. I love that. So that's something that I do. That took me like 20 minutes. And let me tell you, when I was done with that, I was tired. I needed a nap. And so, and that's what it is. It's like you give yourself something else to focus on, and you're still engaging in your craft. You're still being productive. You're still getting that sense of accomplishment, but you're also getting a sense of clarity and appreciation and gratitude for what it is that you do. I took the artist's way out. So, I mean, I referenced Julia Cameron a few times in this video. I bought this book every time I walked in Barnes & Noble. I was always in the self-help section because this is when I was really going through large bouts of anxiety. And this book, it was propped up on a shelf. It was propped up everywhere. I don't know why. This had to be in the 90s. And I was always attracted to the photo in the front. And there was a bookstore. It wasn't Barnes & Noble. It was Borders. That's where it was. And let me see if I can find this here. Okay, so Borders was right down the street from my restaurant, and so that was my refuge to go into Borders and go into the self-help section and learn how to deal with this anxiety. And like, I just felt like nothing I was doing was working. You know, all the yoga, all the this, all the walking, all the affirmations, all that stuff. And I walked up the aisle and this book fell out in front of me, and I picked it up, I put it back, and it fell again, and I picked it up and I put it back and it fell again. And I just looked at it and I opened it up and I was like, well, this looks like homework, you know, because every week you investigate a new chapter, you know, recovering a sense of safety. That's a big thing for artists. If you don't have someone that supports you, you know, you need a sense of safety. A lot of all artists are children, and so we grow up with whatever it is we were told about art. Either you were encouraged or you weren't. You know, either your parents said, oh yes, she's going to be an artist, or she's very creative, or they said, oh no, you know, she's going to law school and she's going to become a lawyer. So that's a really interesting chapter, recovering a sense of safety, recovering a sense of identity, recovering a sense of creativity if you haven't been creative. And of course, she talks about recovering a sense of creativity without being under the influence, because a lot of artists just think that, you know, if you know, I'm not going to get that inspiration that I would get. I'm not open. I'm not a channel yet for inspiration if I'm not feeling relaxed, and I feel relaxed with a glass of wine in my hand, or I'm smoking a joint or something else. But it is a spiritual path to higher creativity, and it's for everyone. Everyone is creative. Your life is a work of art. I say it at the end of every one of my videos, create the world that you want to live in. And that's basically creating the life that you want. It doesn't have to be high art, you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be magnificent, you know, elegance and glamour. It could be just carving a section out in your home. I mean, at one point, now I lived in New York, I lived in a shoebox, but I still had that corner of the world where, you know, I had to learn how to, you know, turn things into convertibles. You know, it was a kitchen table, but it also was a workstation, and also was a craft station. And I had to learn how to like get this space and like look up and I'm like, well, I don't have a lot of floor space, but the walls, I could put shelves, I could put containers, you know. And I learned how to scale down. You know, yeah, we all love to collect things and we all love to buy things. And that was the other, you know, frame of mind that I was in when I was creating, was that I needed this pen, I need this wax, I need this tray, and I got to have this system, and I got to buy all these things. But when you don't have the room for all these things, you learn how to make do with what you got. And I got to tell you, there wasn't one time where I said, I don't have that pen, so this isn't working. I don't have that tray, it's not working. I really took a very limited approach to this craft because I was hooked from the first time I put a drill on a canvas, and I knew that I was in danger of becoming out of control. And that's the other thing that this little emperor is about. This little emperor is about self-control, that you've learned self-control. And I really think that this is like really prolific that I pulled this one out. And it, you know, it might seem like, okay, kind of airy-fairy to you, but I looked it up and I read it, and I can agree that, you know, even if it is, you know, something that you poo-poo, tarot cards, it reminded me that, yes, I have learned self-control. And if you are interested in tarot, I used to have a gentleman who used to come in with his children, and adorable children, 2 boys and a little girl. And he was a tarot card reader, and his name is Enrique Enriquez. And he would come, he would say to me, can I sit in your cafe and read tarot cards for your customers? And I was like, they would love it. Sure, I'll market that. And they, you know, scheduled time with him. You couldn't get in to see him because he was so good. But he does have a I don't know if he has a YouTube channel, but I know he has a Facebook channel, Enrique Enriquez, and he's very artsy, and he's just a beautiful soul. You will love him. You will love his language and the way that he speaks. And then of course we have Book of Awakening. I get a chance to read to you guys. I was saying earlier that I was telling Tamara, start where you are. And I was saying how sometimes, you know, I'm a very intuitive person. So sometimes I'm like, I don't even want to look where November 18th is today. And I think I'm having a mental block because I'm going to do a little video on this. I screwed up Crimson, and I'm not doing jingle drills, and I'm heartbroken, and I think that's why I don't want to read today's. So I opened up to, now I'm curious, what does November 18th say? What's it say? Does it say be patient with yourself? Oh my God, am I going to change my reading? It's called The Puppy in the Pound. But I really wanted to read you. I really wanted to read you what I opened up to, which was October the 17th, which was my girlfriend's. And it had to do with, you know, learning how to respond and not react. Especially, I thought it was so prolific for, you know, we're getting together with family. And I've been talking about how, you know, it's been difficult for me and my husband. It's actually my husband's mother's birthday today, my mother-in-law's birthday today. And, you know, we're both, I'm so lost without my dad. And I feel like I really didn't get to know my dad until he passed away. And, I got the chance to spend time with my mother-in-law before she passed away, and she was a hoot. I mean, she was all there, you know, her body, gave out on her because she would still be here. And that's hard. That's hard, you know, when you have all your faculties and you don't want to go, and you're finally seeing your bachelor son get married, and yeah, so it's difficult for the both of us, but we speak their name every single day. Every single day I'm telling him something about my dad. Every single day he's telling me something about his mom. So I felt like you might be going through that during the holiday. You might, you know, there were times that I would be in the company of people that I don't see them all year. And they, you know, people that have a way of giving you an offhanded compliment. You know what I mean? They want it to sound like a compliment, but really it's an insult. Boy, I'll tell you, that's an art. I gotta tell, I don't know how they do it. I couldn't, I'm such a genuine person. I'm so authentic. I love the truth. I honor the truth. I couldn't be that mean to people. I don't know where that stems. I don't even know where it stems from. And my husband tells me this all the time. You have such a hard time accepting that there are evil people in the world, and that there are people that don't like you because they have a hatred of the good for being good. And you're that person. You're a good person, and they don't like you because you're a good person. And my mind just can't accept that. I'm like, I'm so happy for everyone and for everyone's accomplishments. And I'm there for everyone. If they need me, if they say I need help, I'm there. So I kind of felt like that. I kind of felt like that reading was something that we can all use. So I'm going to go back, even though I'll read November 18th on my own. I'll let you know when I tell you guys about Crimson, what the heck happened. I'm so heartbroken. I really am, guys. I really am. And if you were following me yesterday when I finished up with Lilac, and I was so excited. I was excited that, you know, oh my gosh, I have this beautiful painting that's going to be hanging in my home for the holiday, but I get to start the next one. I was just, oh my God, overjoyed. So October, what I opened up to intuitively is October 17th, and it's called Reflex or Response. I did not survive to be untouched. Everything's a practice. My husband just surprised me with an early arrival. Here he comes again.
I left the backpack in the truck. I gotta go get it.
So what was I saying earlier about my... Here he is. He's back again. So what was I saying earlier about my husband? He left his backpack in the truck. Yesterday, he lost the keys. Watch Lilac. That's a scream. And he left, and he came back, and then he left, and he came back. I had to pause it 3 times. Here we go. I need this reading. See, I made the right choice. Reflex or respond. I just laugh. I did not survive to be untouched. The emotional patterns of our lives are very strong. They often come into being because we've needed them to survive, right? But sooner or later, we all arrive at moments where the very thing that has saved us is killing us, keeping us from truly living. Being invisible once kept us from being hurt, but now we are vanishing. Or listening once kept us in relation, but now we are drowning in our unheard voices. Or avoiding conflict once kept us out of the line of fire, but now we are thirsting for contact that is real. Early in my life, I learned to protect myself, and this meant that I became very good at catching things. In fact, I never went anywhere without my catcher's mitt. No matter what came at me, nothing could surprise me, and while this saved me from the unpredictable assaults of my family, and even helped me in my odyssey through cancer, it eventually had a life of its own. Everything, birds, women, friends, truth, were intercepted by the quick reflex of my mitt. Eventually, nothing got through, and the very thing that helped me survive was now keeping me from being touched. The softness and wonder of the world was vanishing from my life. But I did not survive to live at a distance from things, and so I began the long and painful process of putting my mitt down, of regaining choice about when and how to protect myself. I began to realize that letting life in was a deeper way to survive. In doing this work, I began to experience an amazingly thin lining of breath, which I believe is in all of us. Beneath it lives our impulsive heart, our true and genuine response to all that we encounter. Above it lives the reflex of our emotional survival, the quick twitch of our patterning, those deep-rooted habits that we have. It seems our ability to be authentic and free can't touch us until we breathe our way below the twitch of our patterning. Often this requires outlasting the anxiety of needing to catch or fix what comes our way so we can truly respond from the center of our being. There is, after all, a difference between helping someone, because if you don't, you will lose their love or some sense of your own image as a caring person. My minute, one more minute, my minute. And helping someone because your impulsive heart moves you to their aid. We are, each of us, in a repeatable war between defending ourselves from hurts that happened long ago and opening in innocence once again to the unexpected touch of life. And so the exercise here is to, when you're breathing, when you're doing that breath work, that ujjayi breath, find a way to see if you could perceive that thin lining of breath that surrounds your heart. And allow into your awareness one current pressure you are feeling from a loved one. And that could be uncomfortable, but you have your breath, and maybe you stop, and maybe that's as far as you get, and maybe you come back to it, and maybe this is all you can do. I want you to begin to intuitively listen to yourself and listen to, not me, not this book, but what is right for you. Maybe you just get through the reading. Maybe you just get through the breath. But if you can perceive that very thin lining that surrounds our heart and let someone that is like a trigger for you, if you can sit with that, not sit with what you would say or what you think they're going to say or how they're going to act. You know, we're not going to propel ourselves into a future that has not happened yet. We're going to be in the moment. So from that thin lining of breath in and out, try on different ways that you can respond. And that's the practice. Not being reactive, just responding. Maybe responding is not responding. You know, what response has helped you survive in the past? What response will help you live more fully now? Which feels more life-giving? I'm not going to see you guys for Self-Care Sunday until next Sunday. And I would love if you've had any one of these experiences and you used any one of these techniques, if you would just let me know, give me a comment. Let me know how your holiday went, your Thanksgiving, what you did. And, you know, if you had a different experience with this person or people than you've had in the past. Okay? I am going to do some work on Bud now because he needs a little attention. And create the world you want to live in. Thank you for joining me. I love these sessions. They just warm my heart. I'm able to do this on my own, but I love sharing it with you. So create the world that you want to live in. I'm doing it for me, and I'm doing it for you. Have a wonderful holiday, whatever it is that you decide to do.